Hello. Welcome back, everybody, to WWTA News. Thank you for returning for another episode. Got a few things to run through. I'm not going to waste too much time. And this is just trying to keep up with what is going on. I don't talk too much about the different crypto. There really isn't many crypto stories out there, other than, I guess you'd say, FUD stuff that people are actually saying, kind of hype things up. I tend to look for stuff that has weight and value, and so until I see stuff like that, it's kind of like, it's just, that's not really good. You know what I mean? So let's jump right in. So here's a story from Ripple partner and Wells Fargo collaborating on Swift replacement. What is this? A Ripple partner and Wells Fargo collaborating on Swift replacement? A Ripple partner, right? Think about that. Collaborating, right? Wells Fargo? Let's see what's going on with this. This article says the Clearinghouse, a known Ripple partner company, is working with Wells Fargo on a cross-border payment system specifically designed to support digital commerce that could potentially replace Swift. Now, listen, we all know that Swift is that top dog middleman that nations cross through to do financial transactions. Now, if you ask me, if everybody ends up using blockchain technology, then they kind of really won't need Swift unless you don't trust something and you feel like you need that third party to be there, and it's like, okay, you're a Ripple partner, you're a partner of Ripple, and you're affiliated with them, and we want to work with you so we can use those payment rails to set up our version of Swift. Well, it's like, Wells Fargo, I don't really know if I want to trust you and what you've got going on. Well, you're not trusting me, you're trusting the network, right? The payment rails. So it's like, yeah, that's true, but so it's kind of like, even when you do stuff like that, I think people are going to commonly still think in their minds, like, I still don't think I can trust you, even though it's a trustless system. Let me say that. But still, that's kind of the way people's minds think. So anyways, could potentially replace Swift. I don't think that's likely. Because it all, yes, we're talking a trustless system, but at the same token, people don't trust for anything. And just think about it this way. If you're moving around $100 a month, right? Let's say you move $100 a month. You're not really stressed if you make, let's say, $10,000 a month. Let's say you make $10,000 a month and you move $100 a month around, and you're not too stressed if you lose the $100 in a transaction because, it's a drop. So you can find another $100 no problem and do the transaction again. Now imagine you make $10,000 a month, but you have to move 9,000 of that around a month. You're not going to want to have a slip up happen that might cost you the 9,000 because you only make $10,000 a month. That only leaves you with 1,000. You can't replace that 9,000 being moved around. So when we think of it that way, we look at bigger businesses involved, institutions. Institutions don't really want to play around and have all the responsibility fall in their lap. They kind of want to have that middleman that's going to take all the responsibility because they're moving high amounts. They're not moving, and by that, again, to the analogy that, if you got 10,000 a month and you're moving 100, it's not going to concern you, that loss. But if you're moving 9,000 out of 10,000, that's some risky business. So you don't really want to be the one caught if something fails on that. So you're going to look for a middleman. So this is why I kind of think Swift is going to exist. You're not really going to just replace them. And then we're talking about a bank, Wells Fargo, right? And then you can look upwards and see what the parent to all that. But I don't think people are going to just trust that. Okay, I just don't see it. But anyways, it goes on to say the system known as real-time payments, RTP service, would facilitate the real-time transfer of digital currency between eligible accounts at Wells Fargo. A new Wells Fargo online service agreement has been shared online that details how this project could directly change Swift's dominance. Now, this clearly says within Wells Fargo. So if you're a truster of Wells Fargo's banking system and them as a bank, you're already using their tech. So this is just a faster version of that tech. You know what I'm saying? Which simplifies everything for Wells Fargo. Does that mean it necessarily is to replace Swift? No, not in my opinion. Based on what we're reading, it doesn't even say that. it says could directly challenge Swift's dominance. Well, you're not challenging Swift unless you're going to come into the place of being that middleman that interchanges between nations and countries and everything. If you're not doing that, then no. This is kind of a more of a hype thing. The major part of this story is the fact that Wells Fargo is directly working with a company that's obviously using Ripple's payment rails, and so this is offering Wells Fargo easy access to, I would only assume at this point, a Ripple partner, maybe XRP as the payment rails. I don't know, but I mean, I don't see anything else to say not. I only see, a partner of. If you're a partner to Ripple, then you're probably using the XRP rails. And so it doesn't say you're not, it says you're partnered with. So I would only assume that, that the good part of that story is Wells Fargo, as a banking institution, is, apparently about to tie themselves to the XRP payment rails. Okay. So, it is what it is. It goes on to say the clearinghouse has stated that RTP service is specifically designed for the digital, on-the-go way we live and work today. In particular, unlike rival payment systems, the RTP system includes real-time postings, immediate confirmation, and a secure two-way messaging service. Transfers would be immediate and final, offering maximum control to the account holder, just like cash. So now, with this being said, I'm clearly seeing, without having to guess, that they're talking about their customers, right? They're saying we're setting up a payment rail system within our banking system, within our system itself, that's going to use apparently XRP's payment rail. And so we can offer all this to our customers through our system on a payment rail system that we're going to use. That, if anything, to me is major news, because it just confirms that ISO is the way to go. And I'm following the banks for the purpose of that's where the money is, so I've got to follow them. And you got to use your due diligence. You've got to understand how things work. If you want to know about cars, you need to hang around car repair shops, you know what I'm saying? Because that's where you're going to find out about cars. If you want to know about money, you should probably hang around banks, because they handle money on massive amounts on a regular basis. That's where you're going to find out about money. So me, I'm like, I'm going to follow the banks, and this is what the banks are doing, right? That's ISO. We're talking ISO. It goes on to say, nonetheless, at the moment, it seems the RTP service will be heavily restricted at Wells Fargo with a $5,000 single payment cap, despite the clearinghouse stating elsewhere that its system works within a $100,000 credit transfer limit. Wells Fargo has also reserved the right to discontinue, modify, or suspend access to the RTP service at any time. Now, what this says to me is that they will have to have in reserves on-demand liquidity of XRP upwards to an extensive amount to cover a limit of moving $100,000, right? So, and we're talking about many customers, right? So if they're saying at first 5,000 a cap, then that means they don't have to have but so much XRP on hand for the on-demand liquidity, right? You talking 100,000, now we're talking about more XRP if we're using, which appears to be they're using a partner of XRP, that it'll have to be that payment rail. So that increases the amount you're going to need to have on hand in your personal bank wallet. So I'm only speculating here, but to me, I always thought that each bank will have to have their own wallet, okay? And that wallet will hold X amount of whatever the necessary coin or currency is in there for these transactions to make all this stuff work. So in my mind, I would imagine, let's just say a branch near you that probably does in business each day, I don't know, $1.8 million is what that branch office turns every day, moving it around. Well, then in my opinion, 1.8 million in XRP, right, would be what they would possibly need to continue doing those transactions instantaneous. and then possibly more depending on growth from the bank, because a lot of people are going to continue to use the banks. There's no need for them to go anywhere else because they don't want the responsibility, just like we discussed earlier with big institutions dealing in their dealings with Swift. All right, so you know what I'm saying? To me, this is what this appears to be, and again, this looks like major news, and that's how I see it, based on just reading the article. All right. It goes on to say, ultimately, however, this is further evidence that digital currencies are tentatively becoming increasingly adopted by mainstream financial institutions. Ding ding! Major banks are recognizing the need to improve the flow of commerce in the digital economy with bespoke systems designed for that purpose. Indeed, despite some hesitancy, Wells Fargo has specifically announced that it will reserve the right to add additional accounts that are eligible to the RTP service. Meaning that if they need to swap your account to a blockchain account, or would you say an account that can move XRP, then they'll do that based on, I don't know, I don't even know, but it's saying basically they reserve the right to be able to do that, which means that as they're growing, they will have the ability to, obviously as they grow more XRP in their bank, to do more faster transactions. So whether you like it or not, you may not even ever know it's happening. You'll still see because you'll see whatever you put in the bank go into the bank, and you'll probably still be able to pull out money up to a certain period of time, pull out cash. But the transactions will more than likely be happening in the background on blockchain. You just won't know about it. All right, because they reserve that right, because your money comes into their bank and they can do whatever they want to do with it, because 9/10 of the law is possession, right? Y'all know that. Let's move along. We got a tweet here, Danielle Dixon. 1-to-1 fiat-backed stablecoins are not securities, and nothing that's happened this week changes that statement. There are players in the market that operate responsibly with consumers and regulators in mind. Secure 1-to-1 fiat-backed stablecoins are crucial to this industry. You kind of know what she's talking about. She's talking about stable coins out there that don't actually have one-to-one currency backing it. So for instance, you look at USDC, it has a one-to-one. This is why they made a big deal about Binance BUSD trying to use their money to do that. What gives you the right to be able to do that with our money? Nobody gave you the right to do that. It's our money. You know what I'm saying? But here, clearly, it looks to me like, yeah, if you're talking stable coins, that's what gives it its stability, that actual money backing it up. You know what I'm saying? Bank One, by enabling users to receive payments in USDC on all the leading protocols via prepaid airtime, we are enabling millions of talented Africans to monetize their crafts, creations, small business across borders with instant settlement in a stablecoin known as USDC, right? So who's their payment rail, right? I'm sure it's going to be an ISO. I'm sure of it. But here you can see Africa. They're moving, the continent of Africa is moving into the digital space. Obviously, these blockchains. So more confirmation. Stellar, 350 million people in Africa don't have access to bank accounts, and only 20% of families have formal bank accounts. Bank One provides a real-world solution to this problem by turning 8 billion active prepaid SIM cards globally into virtual debit cards with Stellar. So boom, that's who Bank's running on. They're running on the Stellar blockchain. Again, this is an ISO, so again, it proves itself. Do I need to prove it, or do we just read this stuff, right? If we read this stuff, it proves itself. All right, Stellar. Once users load prepaid airtime credits onto Bank wallets, crypto wallets, those credits are on-ramped onto the Stellar network as cryptocurrency and digitized into tokens named MIN, which can then be turned into USD coin. So they got to be on-ramped on the Stellar, which means you got to turn it into Stellar, send it online, then it gets swapped over to a coin called MIN, tokens named MIN, and then it can be turned into USD coin and continue to be moved and then withdrawn and then cashed out, because you have ATMs that'll be spitting out the actual currency if you want it in paper form. Amazing. Amazing. All right, Stellar again. I think this is an opportunity for solutions like ours, in combination with Stellar, to make a big difference and help the next 2 billion humans join the digital financial world, says Fondbank CEO at C. Duff Us. Amazing, right? It's totally amazing. We're watching all this stuff unfold here in this world, as the other world is kind of watching other stuff, not paying attention to it. So just be glad that your eyes is on this and you're preparing for this future, because look, that's February 10th, right? February 10th of 2023. That's what's going on. All right, decaf cash deposits and withdrawals are now live on decaf. You can buy digital dollars and redeem them for cash and MoneyGram's 300,000 locations in 175 countries. Now look at that. We know that MoneyGram started off with the XRP payment rails. Then after that whole situation, they ended up moving to what? Stellar. And now Stellar, I guess decaf is an offshoot from the Stellar blockchain using, I would only assume, yeah, Stellar. XLM. All right, so amazing there. ISO again, ISO again. All right, Michael Branch. Novotel Bahrain Al Dana Resort reportedly became the first hotel in the country to accept cryptocurrencies as a means of payment. That's a hotel accepting crypto. They didn't say Bitcoin, they say cryptocurrencies. I can't tell you what they are unless we go open up that article and dig in. I just wanted to share the tweet because it's interesting that all these countries, like we knew, they're diving right in. Okay. All right, then there's the Fondbank again. It says get paid in USDC with prepaid airtime using Fondbank's instant merchant feature. Join the future of payments in Africa. Look, man, you know, all I'm doing is reading this stuff and showing it to you, but you can clearly see these changes are here. You're waiting, no point. Pay attention, don't get left. Some of the stuff you might not know is happening through your bank and be a part of it, but you won't be a part of it to pick this stuff up. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I don't know. So anyways, that's all we got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some value, found some value in it. I hope this information is helpful to you. Don't forget to share with your family, friends, and loved ones. And yeah, I will catch you all in the next episode.